The succulent, tasty leaves of homegrown spinach are beyond compare, but spinach can be a struggle for some gardeners to grow. Spinach is particular about its growing conditions, and knowing when to harvest spinach can mean the difference between a big harvest and a minuscule one. Before we talk about when to harvest spinach, it's important to understand when to plant it. This is because the timing of planting directly connects to the timing of the harvest. There are 3 times for planting spinach in growing regions that have 4 distinct seasons. The 3 planting times are 1. Very early spring, 2. Late summer or early fall, and 3. Late fall through midwinter. When to plant and harvest spinach if you live in a warm climate. If you live in a warm region where the seasonal shifts are very moderate and winters aren't very cold, grow your spinach in the winter. Seeds are sown in late fall, and then it's time to harvest spinach about a month to 6 weeks later. Tropical growers in year-round hot climates should find an alternative crop. It's far too warm to grow cool weather-loving spinach in regions where there are never cool temperatures. When to harvest spinach planted in the very early spring. If you're planting seeds or transplanting in the very early spring, they'll produce a mid to late spring harvest. Baby greens will arrive in mid-spring, and mature greens will arrive in late spring. When to harvest spinach planted in the late summer or fall. Late summer plantings are harvested in the mid to late fall or early winter. Baby greens arrive in mid-fall and continue through early winter. However, you won't likely see mature leaves until the next spring. That's because this crop can easily be overwintered for a winter or an early spring harvest. When to harvest spinach planted in late fall or winter. If you plant spinach seeds in the late fall through midwinter, the seeds will sit dormant in the soil all winter long and will germinate very early the following spring. This will yield an early to mid-spring harvest. Succession planting for even more spinach harvests. Planting a new row of spinach seeds every week throughout the early spring and then again in the late summer into the fall generates multiple harvest times. This is known as succession planting, and it is the best way to maximize your harvest. Don't plant all your seeds at the same time. Spread the sowings out over several weeks. Doing so will also spread out your harvest. Pinch versus cut. In addition to knowing when to harvest spinach, how to harvest is another important factor for success. You can either pinch off individual stems with your thumb and forefinger or cut them off with a pair of scissors or sharp knife. Some gardeners harvest the entire plant using a knife or scissors. That's a viable technique too, and it's a whole lot faster than leaf by leaf. Again, as long as the growing point remains, it will regrow more leaves.